1, and we are now live. This is Tech Live number 75. Guys, we've done 75 of these. I'm so glad to record this. I'm really happy we're here tonight. There's a lot that went on today. And yeah, so we're here together. Guys, by the way, first 5 people to stay on the longest of the TikTok Live. It shows me in the back end when I finish at the end. So I'm gonna give you guys a shout out on the podcast, the YouTube, and the caption. Okay, let's get it started. So first person to ask a question first was Mary Santana. That was the first comment. Mary Santana said, "Hello." So, hello, Mary. How you doing? Gail said, "Dental school interview next week. Any tips to help prepare?" Yeah. Guys, remember, Gail, remember, it's a question. It's a question. It's not a multiple choice. It's a conversation. It's a multiple choice exam. Okay, take it easy. My biggest thing was you want to be prepared for these questions. Okay, tell me a little something about yourself, like your elevator pitch within like a minute or so. Right. Make sure you know why our school or program or residency or the specialty. Right. Tell me a little something about your strengths. Tell me about your weaknesses. And then that's the thing. It's going to be why our program or school, and then why, say, oral surgery, or for example, for dentistry, right? You're at a dental school interview. Another thing is right before you go into those interviews, have a playlist prepared. I would have a confidence playlist. I think back in dental school was when I started that. I only had like 3 songs, but get your like go-to songs that always gets you in the zone and listen to them right before you walk into the building, right before you go into that interview, right before, whenever you can, right? Maybe driving to the interview. That's when I started it going. Okay, those 10, that's a good idea. You should do that. All right, so that's one thing there. Next question we got Jackson. Oh, wow, we got a bunch already. Okay, the dental student, spending my 5 minutes study here. No, you should definitely go study. Definitely go study. But yeah, if there's any way I can help, let me know. Marcel Crony said, "Yo, how did that first true paycheck feel?" I haven't gotten the first paycheck yet. This is my second week, right? Because it was like 5, 6 weeks ago I got the dental license, which took 2 to 3 weeks for them to get me in the system, the license, get me matriculated. That was 2 weeks ago. Then I started a little less than 2. It was last week, right? So then this will be a full 2 weeks, and the next paycheck comes out in 2 weeks from this Friday. So we got a little bit, or next Friday. Next Friday, maybe it's next Friday. Yeah, it's next Friday. So we got a little bit. I'm down 6,000 right now. I'm negative 6,000 with the credit card and everything. So something to consider when you're in between, waiting to start working at the job between residency or dental school. It's there's going to be some months that you're not working, and there's going to be things you need to register for, like the oral surgery boards exam. That was 3,300, kind of expensive. The first part was 2,300, I think it was. So they're racking dollars over there. And then the board review courses. Thankfully, I was offered free of charge, which I'm very grateful for. And then what else we got? Other expenses. There's always groceries and stuff. Yeah, so I had to buy some new scrubs. So yeah, that's how it's going. The dental student said study break. Oh, 5 minutes study break. Yeah. So what are you studying for right now, my friend? The dental student. User 442489. Any advice on doing UWorld? Yeah, just get as many reps as you can. As many reps as you can. My tip for CBSE studying was I would do timed mode in the morning, get a quick block in, review it throughout the day in classes, and then at the end of the day, go back to blocks, but now in tutor mode, right? So review those questions after you go for it. You're going to burn yourself out at the end of the day if you try to do another timed mode, right? Because reviewing that takes an hour or two, probably 2 hours, right? So yeah, that's how I do it. Time mode in the morning, tutor mode in the afternoon. Philarola said, "How long did it take you to prep for the CBSE, and what is a competitive score for 4-year residency in New York?" Competitive scores are, I would say, I would put competitive scores at about the 70, right? And how long did it take? It takes a few months. It takes more than 3 months, I would say. I would push it closer to 5, and I would expect that you have to take it again. Now remember, the CBSE is only offered twice a year. So make sure you get in as many as possible. That you can only take it 6 times, but if you think about it, if you take it twice D1 year, twice D2 year, and twice D3 year, you're applying for residency at that point, right? So 6 is fine. That is all you need. Take it as many times as you can to learn what the yeah. Rest in peace to Charlie Kirk. That's I'll save my thoughts for another day. Um, very sad. Very sad. Quick moment for Charlie. Where were we? Sorry about that, guys. Competitive scores, yeah, 70s, maybe aim for 75. But look, you're just going to do as good as you can get on that, right? You can't like pick what score you get. You have to study as much as you can, as long as you can, and you go from there. Okay. Jackson Mazza said, "This may be an insensitive question, but what is your professional opinion on the tragic events today?" My professional opinion. Let me save my thoughts for a later day. But it is very tragic. It's a very sad day in American history. Yeah, it's I think being able to debate with civilly is the core of democracy, and it's very important. It's very, very important. And as you can see, I'm pretty devastated from today. I'm very saddened by this. It's not the answer. Moving, Kyle, interview tips. Yeah, guys, and interviews, conversation. Okay, so on a multiple choice exam, go into those with your confidence music playlist and make sure you can answer those top 5 questions. Tell me a little something about yourself. Tell me about your strengths. Tell me about your weaknesses. Why our program? That's very important. And then the specialty, or say why dental school rather than medical school, or why medical school rather than dental school. Things like that, right? You know what I mean? So next one, say, wow, well, we got a lot here. Marcus, hardest part about dental school? I think one part about dental school is getting acclimated to the environment, right? It's an average of about 32 credits a semester, they say. Dental school is a big difference from undergrad. Then they add on clinics. So once you get your grades down, now they're adding in patient care. So it's a lot of work. And then if you want to apply to oral surgery, you need to add on CBSE studying on top of classes, the 32 credits a semester, and still see, when they start to make you see patients in dental school and practice, they're not like reducing the amount of classes and credits you're taking necessarily. Maybe a little bit, but you're still taking at least 20, 25 credits, right? So that would probably be the first part. And then the second part is there's a lot of competitiveness in dental school. There's a lot of immature competitiveness, I would call it. I got to be honest. People sending, circulating. Oh my God, I got the last year's exam for you guys. Here you go. And then they selected certain questions on there that have the wrong answer choice too, and they want you to answer that this year with the incorrect answer. Yeah, that's what happens in dental school. So you need to expect that, and you need to be the bigger person in those situations. That's just not, you know what I mean? Argentina, how was work? Do you like your patients? Well, of course I like my patients. I have some outstanding patients today. And unfortunately, with any line of work, whether it's clients, customers, patients, there's going to be some difficult patients. And I just want them to know that I am here for them. I'm here to work with them. I don't like to work necessarily on people. I could work on a mannequin. I want to work with people. We have a human being there. It's not just teeth. It's not just your mouth, extractions or surgery. There's a person behind that, right? So, but sometimes I feel like we take it for granted, and that they take us for granted, like we're robots or something. Like, yeah, I'm gonna have a jelly donut in the back real quick in 7 seconds, and we're gonna get back to it. I'm not gonna keep you here all day, and I want to alleviate anxiety, and I also need to get a sip of water every so often. You know what I mean? So yeah, interview tips. Mary Santana, how's the new job going? Yeah, it's going good. It's really busy, but I like it busy. I do. I need a little more time to catch up on emails. Like, I'm 2 weeks behind. I am 2 weeks behind some other projects and stuff. I'm starting the Long Island Dentist podcast because I want patients to have an opportunity to get to know their providers, right? You look them up online. They have good reviews. You check out their website. You check out their social media page. But I think the true way to really get to know someone, number one, is long form content. I really think you get to know someone through long form content. So that's why I want to create the opportunity for that. And then providers could get to know other providers on there too. That'd be fun, So that's something I want to do for Long Island, dentistry on Long Island, So I surely love dogs. Rest in peace. Rip Charlie Kirk. Rip Charlie Kirk. Mo the Baker, what's expected income for a general dentist as an associate, ballpark? So you have to understand the reimbursement rates for treatment of dentists and dentistry has not increased in a very long time. And everything else, the tuition, the keeping an office open, the electricity, the materials, the implants, the bone graft, everything goes up over time. So if you do the numbers there, unfortunately, and the staff, you have to pay staff more over time. You have to keep up with inflation. But insurance companies and reimbursement are not keeping up with it. In fact, they've actually decreased over the time. There's a study that's shown that Medicare B has actually decreased reimbursement rates by 33% since 2001. Okay, so that's 25 years. It's actually gone down. And Therefore, the salary has not increased since the 70s, 80s, or 90s. So dentists, the cost of living back then was much lower, right? Inflation, everything 50 years ago. And so I would say general dentists. Now, it depends on what part of the U.S. you're from. It depends on, are you a practice owner? How many practices do you own? How many associates do you have working for you? How busy are you during the day? What insurances do you take? Are you solely fee for service? So these are all a part of the umbrella of what's going to make things cost different, different costs. So that's something to consider, right? But I mean, at least in the New York area, I'm hearing somewhere between like 100 to 150. I've heard as much as 200 for general dentists in the New York area, Long Island area especially. But then remember, as an associate, right? The highest I've heard was 34% made by an associate at a DSO. The lowest was in the 20s, mid 20s. And they really want to get you on that salary. If they could pay you a salary, they're going to try and work you a little bit more, right? If you're paid a fixed percentage, I think that's very fair, because now you have the incentive to work harder, work more on your own schedule as you can, as needed, right? That's something to include, right? But yeah. And then half of that salary, say 150, like half of that's coming, between 30 and 50% of that's going out to taxes. So you have to factor that in as well, right? Massey, do you work in a hospital or private practice or both? I just started private practice. I'm at All County Oral Surgery in Melville, and it's nice. I'm Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 right now. I would like to change that, start working at 8 after the board exam, though. Give me until after the board exam in February. Right now, I want to keep it 9 to 5 because I study in the morning before I head in. In fact, I do have to get ready for bed soon. But yeah. Moose said, thoughts on the unfortunate assassination today. Yeah. Rest in peace to Charlie Kirk, and prayers for his family. Argentina, how was work? Do you like your patients? How many? Oh, yeah, we got to those. Yeah, we went those. Bees Reborn Anew. What's your opinion on Black Ops 7? I think I'm sorry, that's a video game, right? I think Black Ops is a video game, if I remember correctly. I don't know. I haven't played it. I don't know enough about video games. Wow, I remember those good old days. I was really young. I was like middle school, maybe a little bit elementary school, middle school, and I haven't played much since then. I do miss Pokemon the most. Playing Pokemon was my favorite. Yeah, Ruby, Sapphire, or the blue version, yellow version, blue version I liked, and then Ruby, Sapphire. I think those were my favorite, to be honest. Yeah. Masi said, did you go to dental school knowing you wanted to do OMFS? I was very interested in oral surgery, but I didn't become narrow-minded. I was very open and observing the other specialties and such. I knew right away I did not want to treat kids like as a pediatric dentist solely. I see kids all the time in the oral surgery clinic, but that's different. You know what I mean? Like solely kids. I commend them. Very good. Then as I did more through dental school, and it kind of molded my way, and the externships really sealed it, where you spend the time at a program for a week. They fill you out, you fill the program out, and that's just, I really liked it after that. So that was it. Invader 1031, how to take out wisdom teeth fast. It's funny. I had a close friend in residency. I love this dude. Good guy, very brilliant. Okay, but he works very, like, I feel like he kind of rushes work, and I've seen some minor mistakes. Minor mistakes can happen when you rush things. That increases your chances for complications from happening. I find that if you really think this through, it's not about how fast or quick you work. The resulting time decreases in a surgery by making every stroke count, every movement count, every instrument count, right? Not wasting. You don't just grab an aimless instrument and see if this works. You need to know exactly what's going to work, and when and where and why. And then you get down to you only went back and forth 3 times and that tooth was out. That's how you get, quote unquote, faster at a procedure, right? But most importantly, that's how you minimize complications. Okay, and you only get that way with experience. The way I did that in residency was, I didn't only just go right to the drill. When you drill, you could get any tooth out, right? Like right away. But in residency, I wanted to understand tactile forces and sensation, holding instruments and different wedges and shapes to get these teeth out. I would struggle while I could in the hospital, right? Because I was learning how to take out teeth as an intern, first-year resident in oral surgery at Bellevue and NYU. And that's how I did it. That's how I recommend doing it if you can in residency. Otherwise, they're trying to push you to get the drill and take it out. Just blowing through bone, though, isn't preserving anything for an implant down the road. It's a fact, right? So something to consider, okay? Dental student my dental materials exam tomorrow. Oh, dental materials. That might have been one of the most boring exam. Now, I get it. Like you need to, materials. Maybe I know I have someone who did his master's in like materials and stuff, which can be very helpful. Maybe we could advance materials one day, but like having an exam on dental materials, like we just like all you need to know is the basics and move on. I don't know why they get so in depth with like the parts of copper and mercury and tin and in amalgam. It's like, dude, come on, nobody uses amalgam anymore. It's not the 1930s. But hey, I guess you gotta learn amalgam sometimes. GR top one class rank or CBSE more important? I think CBSE because it levels the baseline compared to everyone else in the country, right? It levels the playing field. Your class rank is going to be internally useful. Frankly, I don't really care about. If I was a program director, I wouldn't care 1 minute about class rank. I would want to know: do you want to come to our program? How serious are you about oral surgery? What experience have you had? What kind of person are you? Are you a worker? Are you gonna, you know? So things like that. You know what I mean? JFC, JDB. Hey doc. Hey, how were your first couple of days of work? They were good. They're very busy, seeing patients. It's great. 9 to 5. I get out later than 5, finishing notes and stuff. Today was the earliest day I got out. It was 5:15, 5:30. 5:30 I got out. Earliest one today. But oh yeah, but that's because I had a couple cancellations. There's no shows in the afternoon or forth. One no show in the morning, and I had like two. I think it was two no shows, or even more maybe in the afternoon. Well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, yeah, it's good. It's good. I'm really liking it. I really am. I can't wait till I can get in a groove, get my own computer, my desk at work, get into a nice routine, get into a groove, and just like let's maximize this. Let's do more podcasts. Let's go see referring docs. Let's connect with other dentists on Long Island more. Let's see more patients. Let's yeah, it's we're about. I see the light at the end, and then I gotta get oral boards out of the way, and then I can really go 100% into my other things. I got to do that right now, and I really need to study for that. I really need to. So I'll wrap this up in a little bit because I study in the mornings before I head in. I get up at 5:30. Folding wallet. Doc, what procedures did you do today? I actually did 4 implants yesterday on 3 patients. They all had single tooth extractions, and we did implants. So I let them know the options for storing them, right? And they were perfect, slam dunk. Like, if this tooth comes out, we should get an implant in now and get that healing going. The longer you wait, the less bone height you potentially can have. But by getting that implant in, you kind of keep it as much as possible, right? Because distributed forces into healing and osteointegration integration, and among a number of other things. But yeah, I want to keep going. Today, it was all extractions. I had an apicoectomy consult. We'll do that. Got a CBCT on that. And I did a coronectomy too, as well. Coronectomy is when you remove the crown of the tooth, leave the roots, make sure the roots are under the bone by 2-3 millimeters. And that went really well, really well. To avoid, because the nerve was just lateral, but touching the roots. So you don't want to take the roots out if they're that close to the nerve. What if the nerve comes out attached to the roots? You don't know. You don't know that's not going to happen. So that's what we did. Mary Santana, keeping it classy. I love that. Thank you. That's very kind of you, Mary. Thank you. Asian Noodles said, hey man, I'm so sorry if you gotten this question before, but if Charlie had full trauma team next to him, would he have had a shot? I don't know what you mean there. I I do know what you mean there now. I don't want to answer this question. I another day. Another day. Poopies asked, things are going to be crazy for the coming future after today. Um, perhaps, perhaps. Mary, am I holding up? Am I holding up for you, Mary? User 12785. No matter what, sick people find a way to hurt people. Jill Trung said, how do you manage studying for dental boards in D3 while studying for the CBSE? Ooh, that's a phenomenal question. It's a great question. I would try, if you can, to separate the two. You can plan what time your boards were, right? You can't plan when you take that CBSE. It's over twice a year. So I would plan to take the boards right after the CBSE. Get some stuff's going to be fresh in your memory, right? You're going to be used to studying. You take 2 weeks off from studying rigorously for the CBSE, and then study hard for a month and a half, maybe for that boards. Maybe you need 2 months. Sure. Take 2 weeks off. Get back to it. You know what I mean? Stuff fresh in your memory. You're going to be your brain's going to be used to absorbing material, and absorbing the dental material for the dental boards is going to be a lot more effective right after the CBSE. That's my recommendation, Jill. Let me know what you think about that, by the way. Clutch Master 720, big bro, do not forget about local anesthetic systemic toxicity. I'm not forgetting about it. I'm not forgetting about it. It can happen. I've never seen it happen. Thousands of patients I've seen, but it can happen, of course. Dentistry Revealed said, are you in private practice? I am. Yeah, I'm in private practice. I'm in the Melville office on Long Island of All County Oral Surgery. Yeah, come in, come in. You need work, you need help. User 442489. Do you think it's worth redoing correct answers on UWorld, or would you be better to go to another QBank? Actually, we talked about this in CBSE Dissection. You can find on YouTube, podcast platforms. And what we were saying is get 100% of UWorld in, right? And then do 50% of UWorld. Then maybe go to Amboss. When you're going through your second pass to UWorld, then go to Amboss. Try and get at least 50% of Amboss questions in. Then you can, depending on how much time, that's a lot. That's months we're talking. If you get through all that, then you could go finish up Amboss, or you could go back to the last 50% of UWorld. Up to you. Up to you. You know what I mean? That makes sense? It would be a good idea. JFCJD said, how were your first couple of days of work? They were good. Yeah, they're busy. It's going well. I'm seeing patients. I'm getting into routine. I just got to get a computer, and yeah, I think we're going to be off to the races. Mary Santana said, you're doing a great job, Doc. Keep it up. Thank you, Mary. That means more than you know. Thank you, Mary. Really. I missed a couple back here. Let me go back up there. Oh, Carson. What's up, Carson? Carson joined a little bit the way back. Is the DAT hard? Yes, the DAT is hard. The most important thing to consider is it won't be the hardest exam you take, because then you have the dental boards later on, you have classes in dental school. Potentially you're combined with medical school, you're taking med school classes. But it is the hardest exam you'll take in that time period that you're at, right? You're an undergrad taking the DAT. It's going to be a hard exam for that period, right? So, let me get back to who said it. Yeah, here we go. Got it. All right. Dude, I just lost the spot again. Where'd it go? Is the DAT hard? We did that one. Scrolling back up more. Got it. Okay, found it. Omar Hamdan. Hey, Dr. Gallagher, I was wondering if there are OMFS working full-time in the hospital. There are, okay? Not too many, not many, right? But there are some. And then some of those oral surgeons go into different areas, right? Some of them might go back and do a fellowship in plastic surgery, and then they come back doing mostly plastic surgery. For example, head and neck surgeons. A lot of head and neck surgeons end up at academia centers, and they have a clinic at like a dental school perhaps, but a lot of their big operations, taking out cancer of the head and neck, neck dissections, hospital setting in the OR, okay? Anyone think he looks like Flash from Incredibles? That was Kui K5315. Asian Noodles, Folding Wallet. That's so tragic. Mo the Baker said, what's an expected income for a general dentist? That's an associate ballpark. Income for a general dentist, yeah, I was saying, I mean, it's really going to be variable based on location of the country. Are you taking insurance? Are you not? How many days are you working? It's going to be very variable, right? But I mean, I would say probably a rough estimate would be maybe around 130 to 150, starting out after residency or dental school associate. Okay. Rai B said, how would you compare studying for the DAT to studying as a dental student, like in dental school? Hard to say, maybe comparable, but you got to remember when you're studying for the DAT, you have like five or more subjects that you're kind of interchanging between, but you have to, in dental school, you do so much more than that. You're seeing patients, you're working in the sim lab, you're preparing for the dental morphology test, you're preparing for academic tests in the classroom, didactics, right? You have clinic and didactics, and that's not something you're doing while you're at the DAT. Sure, you're maybe comparing the PAT to something different from all the other subjects, but it's not. There's just a lot more going on in dental school, Flag said, where did you go for dental school? I went to Stony Brook. It's out in Stony Brook, actually, on Long Island. It's in New York. Maxine followed the live creator. Thanks, Maxine. Ignignoc, 2002. Me, Brandon, how will this affect LeBron's legacy? What happened with LeBron? Gerthop1 said, does a good CBSE offset class rank? It could potentially offset class rank. It's going to depend on the opinion perspective of the program director that you're applying to, right? User 4567, will you share how much you make? Well, first I got to make something. Maybe one day. I don't know. I haven't thought about it because people resent people that make a certain amount of money in oral surgery. I'm working very hard, and I'll be earning a decent living, right? I haven't even received a paycheck yet, so I couldn't tell you, But it's tough because when you share incomes and stuff, there's always someone out there judging, and there always will be. So it's kind of like, but a double-edged sword is not something I really want. I'm not really trying to poke the bear. You know what I mean? A nice wheel said, how do you memorize codes? I don't know. You see them so many times that you know. S, how did you feel on your last day? On my last day, I was really looking forward to getting to the gem. The gem. It's like a restaurant bar. No. I was excited because I got to work with some really good residents, some good friends of mine, with good attending, and we did an orthognathics case on that last day, and it was funny because um, the other residents, they basically didn't even come to me with questions about like, oh, do we need to admit this patient and stuff, because like it was kind of rolling over to someone on the weekend, and it's great day. It was a great feeling. Oh, at school, like dental school. I don't remember the last day of dental school. Prestong, interview Friday. Congrats. Stressing comparing myself to others. How do I do well? This is how you do well. You don't compare yourself to others. You compare yourself to how you did yesterday. You'll likely have more interviews. Compare your next interview to this one. That's what I would look forward to. You're going to give it your best shot, right? Go in there. It's a conversation, not a multiple choice exam. But don't stress yourself out about it, all right? Give yourself some grace. Do the best you can. Talk with them. If you're going into an interview nervous, say like, hey, I really appreciate your time today, and selecting me to have an interview. I am very nervous. Let them know. Let them know you're nervous. Get it off your chest. And then just chat, right? Try it. Try that. Okay? Be honest with them, I don't, IDK12389FO. Brother, haven't tuned in for a while. Have you started working at your private practice? Yeah, I have. I'm an associate. It's like 8 or 9 offices, and I'm one of like 9 surgeons or so. And yeah, I started last week. It's going great so far. It's super busy. I'm liking it. Doing some good surgeries. Yeah, I like the area, Melville. It's good. I like being on Long Island, back near my hometown, Smithtown. Hans, what's the most complex case for surgery you've worked so far? I mean, there's so many things. I mean, there's extensive trauma that you have to put the bones back together and plate them in place, right? You have cancer. Those are some heavy surgeries. You open up the neck, or I mean, I was like assisting like the head and neck cancer surgeon, right? And you're just finding more and more cancer. You got to get it out. You have to send it out for a frozen biopsy. That's when they test the biopsy while you're in the middle of the surgery to see if there's cancer. Is it in this area? Is it in that area? Like, let's find the old trail the lymph nodes until it's all gone. Yeah, so that's some other orthognathic surgeries are extensive surgeries. They're much more controlled. We're very well trained at those. Stevie Gonzalez said, "Pray for Charlie and his family." Quick moment of silence for them. Prayers for the Crooks. Beckett Shasker said, in your private practice, do you still perform things like jaw surgery? We can't perform jaw surgery in the clinic setting. You need to be in a hospital setting, at least a surgery center to do that. Okay, that's the best way to keep the patient safe and maximize the resources in order to do a good surgery, to do it well. So not in a clinic, but I would have to work in a hospital, plan cases out, and these are elective surgeries, orthognathic surgeries. So I'd be fine to do it and stuff. I need to know that I can take time off from work, or it needs to be. I need to get hospital privileges somewhere to work, and in order to get hospital privileges, you have to take call. The hospital doesn't pay you for call. Most of them on Long Island. So now you're doing work for free in order to get a privilege to work in the OR to do a case that insurance is not going to reimburse you for. I can't take time off for work to go to the hospital and do those things. So I would need to. It would be a fee for service basis, and then if it was fee for service, and say I charged X amount, and they want to pay X amount for me to do the surgery, I would bring in another oral surgeon that I know can do them really well with me, that I work well with, and we do them. That's it. We could do them once a month, maybe like on a Saturday. We take care of it. We do it. Um, change some lives. Yeah, change some lives for the better. We've done it before. It's yeah. There's two co-residents I'm thinking of. I would love to do that with them. I mean, they were outstanding. We worked so well together. Could be it could be. Steve Gonzalez, pray for Charlie and his family. No, pray for Charlie and his family. Pray for Charlie and his family and the Kirks. Yeah, I agree. No, rest in peace to Charlie. Steve 012444. What is the most stressful thing about dental school? I was talking about this a little bit before. It's really kind of, I think just, I think number two is getting acclimated to the increased course load and stuff. Number one was probably working with other students who are finding the gems, finding the good people, your friends, finding your people that you could study with and rely on, people that can rely on you. You need to find those people that you could connect with in such a stressful time. And that can be tough at some points. You know what I mean? And then finding out that some people are just trying to undercut you. That's always unfortunate, right? Argentina said, "How many hours are you working now compared to residency?" Um, I would say hours are probably averaging because it's what is it? 9 to 5 is 6, 7, 8 hours. But I'm getting in a little bit early. I'm leaving pretty late, so it's probably coming out to 10 hours. And then with the commute, I don't know, anywhere from 10 to 12 hours. And I do stuff out after hours that counts realistically. Mahamam DDS, can you place an immediate if a patient has a periapical pathology? Well, it depends. For example, I got some periapical pathology out yesterday. Put an implant in that socket. The pathology's gone. It was a little granuloma. I scooped it right out of the curette. Gone. And now irrigate the socket out, maybe curette the edges a little bit more, get it out of there, and then you can put an implant in. Yeah. If you're concerned about it, you can place on a week of antibiotics potentially. Not medical advice. I got to throw this out there. All right. Mary Santana, you're doing a great job, Doc. Keep up. Thanks. Thank you. Jim Leahy. Rip. Charlie Kirk. And a moment of silence for the Kirk soon. Random user 87765 asked, as a periodontist, should I be concerned about rise in general dentists doing implants and other surgery? Yeah, I mean, I'm concerned for patients. I had, well, I don't want to go into it, but you need to be able to manage complications if you're going to do certain procedures. That could be from doing a crown or filling to doing an all-in-X procedure. If you can't manage the complications, you shouldn't be doing the surgery or the procedure, right? You need more training, right? I think it's really simple in that, but not everyone thinks that way. Muhammad DDS, can you please intermediate if the patient has period pathology? Yep. We talked about that. Bossman said, advice for D1, having a tough time at anatomy, plus every day is 8 to 5, finding no energy to study after. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I would drink coffee. I wouldn't drink coffee after 3 p.m. though, because then that would interfere with me getting to bed that night. Make sure you're keeping up with a good diet. Make sure you're exercising as much as you can. Maybe get up a little bit earlier to study a little bit in the morning, and then a little bit later study at night, right? Maybe and another thing, something I would like to do, maybe when you get home, you do a little bit of studying, go for a run, get some exercise in, eat, and then go back to studying later. Or, I mean, I would study in the morning, going to work, the school, do everything. Right after getting out, I would like to give my mind a break. That's when I would go to the gym, wherever we got to do, and then studying after that. Maybe get dinner first or use dinner as the break, right? Study, dinner, study again. Okay, you need to get more reps in. That's key, all right? Victor Naisberg, how do you personally study? Quizlet, premium version, put figures, captions, x-rays, everything on it, and just get the reps in. Question, answer, question, answer. Make sure you make the Quizlets as a question and the other side as an answer, all right? That's it. You got to get the repetitions in, okay? User 456, if you were to do it all over again, would you change anything? Was the journey worth it? I wish I knew Bitcoin was going to be worth this much. I wish Netflix was going to explode like it did. I wish Amazon, yeah, things like that, CryptoPunks, which Bored Ape Yacht Club. No, I mean, you can't look behind and regret like that. Mary Santana, I just got my first implant about a month ago. It was a long process, but so worth it. Excellent. Mary, I'm very glad of that. And make sure you're taking good care of that, right? Flossing in between. Maybe you get yourself a water pick, keeping up with the biannual hygiene exams, making sure your checkups and stuff. I'm sure you're great at that stuff, right? You're going to be fine. Ford. I just lost the spot. Here we go. Ford. Hey, Doc. I got into dental school in Australia. I just graduated high school. Congratulations. Australia's nice. I've heard great. I've never been, but I will be there in the future. It's although don't they have like huge spiders? Is that right? Australia's not like these big, scary, venomous spiders, no. Although one of my favorite actors, Russell Crowe, is from Australia and he lives in Australia, right? So spiders, Russell Crowe, spiders, Russell Crowe. Got the MD and 750,000 salary my first year out of residency. I heard you had $700. Any more now? I'm not sure. First of all, congrats. Got your MD. That's a huge thing. It's a huge accomplishment. You said 700. I don't know. I didn't say that. I'm not sure what you mean. Rai B said you went to NYU for OS program. Correct. Yeah. How often did you see and mentor NYU dental students? All the time. I mean, I was in the NYU oral surgery clinic all the time. We would do sedations over there, and we would do 2 month rotations throughout our chief year, for example. And then I was there for like 5 months my third year. But before then, I wasn't really there. The chief year, yeah, I was there all the time. As the chief resident, I was kind of like helping and like assisting and working with the 1 year under or like the senior level resident. But dental students would come all the time. Yeah, they come shadow. I always like to make sure people know that I give them the time. That's why I'm here. It's 11 o'clock at night. I'm going to sign off in a second, but we're here. We've been on for almost 40 minutes, so yeah, we got to go. But all right, couple more, all the time. And you can send me a DM. Send me a DM on Instagram. All right. Rai B said, "Is there any plans to fight to increase insurance reimbursement? Is the dental union strong like nursing union?" Unfortunately, I don't know if there is like an actual dental union, but it's not that strong. No, we need more of a force. We need a force to get after them. We really need to. I think personally, I think we just need to open up a new insurance company, right, for dentists by dentists, and we use AI to eliminate 90% of the administrative costs, and we just reimburse 100% of the costs that patients put towards their care back to patients. Right? We don't need to be putting that to political causes and stuff like some of these insurance companies are doing. We need to make it work for patients and providers. We need to support providers better than we are right now. All right. So those are my things. All right, my friends. DA, you're beautiful. You're Joel. You're too kind. All right, my friends. Dr. Miguel said, "Hello, just turning in. It's a very sad day." It is. Indeed, it is. All right, my friends. Christian Sabatino, did you go to Stony Brook? I did. I went to Stony Brook Dental School, and then I went to NYU in Bellevue Oral Surgery Residency. All right, my friends. It's Alex2533. What was your step 2 score? I didn't take step 2. I did the 4-year oral surgery residency, so I didn't get my MD. You don't need your MD, so I didn't want to get it. User 7826. I extracted 15 and 16 today, and my hand hurts. Yeah, it could hurt a little bit in the morning. All right, my friends. So I'm gonna sign off. Let's go to bed, guys. Thanks so much for coming on today. There was a lot that going on today, and I hope you have a good rest of the week. Let's make sure we focus on the course, prioritize everything we got to do. I got so much on my plate. I got to start knocking off tasks, but I was glad to be able to take the time and chat on the podcast today. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for participating. The top 5 friends here on the live. I'll be giving you guys a shout out in the caption of the YouTube podcast, the full length recording, so you can check that out. If you have any questions on the side, just reach out, send me a DM on Instagram, okay? And yeah, rest in peace to Charlie Kirk. And I'd like to end with a moment of silence for him as well as the Kirk family. Good night, friends. Love you guys. TikTok Live number 75. Thanks for joining.